conducted more than, as mentioned, 3,000 plus workshops, outbound classrooms, virtual. Must have worked with more than 500 companies and organizations and institutes and colleges. Must have addressed more than 1 lakh people. And this experience brings me to a conclusion that generally into these kind of session, 4 kind of people come. And I'm going to share who these people are. And you tell me, you belong to which category, variety of people. The first variety of people, I call them prisoners, Kadi, who never wanted to come to this session. But then someone called you, someone pushed you that, hey, you have to go. So you have not come here with your willingness. You have come here because someone pushed you. I call them prisoners. Okay, that's category number one. The second variety of people, I call them tourists. You say, hey, it's been long. We have not been to Zoom. Let's go and roam around. People who have no intention of learning, people who just come here to roam around and check the Zoom new features, I call them tourists. The third variety of people, I call them professionals. The moment you came to know, hey, there's going to be a workshop by Anand Mehta on communication, a meta skill, you straight went into Google, did your research, and you come in and tell me, hey, Anand, what are you going to make me learn or teach? Look at this. I prepared notes. I'm fully prepared with the whole session. People who prepared notes and done research, I call them professionals. And the fourth variety of people, I call them explorers. People who have come here with an open mind, with a feeling that let me go to this session and grab whatever maximum I can, which then I can go to my personal life. I can then take it to my professional life as a teacher and apply. People with open mind, I call them explorers. So I'm going to repeat these 4 categories, and you go to chat box and write down which number you belong to. Number 1 is prisoner. Number 2 is tourist. Number 3 is professional. Number 4, explorer. So please let me know you belong to which category or variety of people. Wow. I see a great kind of a rainfall and a feeling with being all of you being explorer. This is amazing. This is incredible. I'm so very much happy. In fact, throughout the session, there's going to be multiple invitation from my side. If you accept my invitation, perfect. If you don't accept, perfect. But each acceptance of my invitation have tremendous potential to make a huge transformational impact on each one of you. And here is my first invitation. If you are an explorer, I'm going to invite you to please remain an explorer throughout the session. And by any chance, if you are not, please upgrade yourself to being an explorer, because two things works only when it's open: parachute and mind. So one person went to a shopkeeper and asked him for a parachute, and he asked him, if this parachute does not open, then the shopkeeper very coolly replied, no problem, sir, free replacement. You have jumped from a cliff, and now the parachute is not opening. What will happen? Same way, I'm going to invite you to please remain here with an open mind as an explorer, because in the entire session, there is nothing right or wrong. Whatever you think is good for you, pick it up. Whatever you think is applicable to you, pick it up. Whatever you think is not applicable to you, not good for you, dump it here. Don't take home. But I'm sure you'll find so many things which you'll say, wow, this I never knew. Let me go and apply this. You'll also find so many things which you already know. Say, wow, I always knew the right thing. And if I'm applying that, brilliant. If I'm not, let me now start applying that. So it's all about learning from this session and going to a real life and applying. And that is going to make this session even more interesting and even more worthwhile when we are doing this. Brilliant. Having understood this, let's continue with our presentation. Super. So the what is importance of communication? All our work happens through communication. And all of us know, especially as teachers, it's very, very important for us to understand that everything what we do, communication is the integral part of our profession. Communication is like a foundation or a meta skill. Being skilled at communication serves as the base for other skills. Means there are so many other skills where the communication becomes a base. That's why we call meta skill. So probably I can say I am a very good in decision making, but if I'm not able to communicate that decision effectively, there's no meaning. As a teacher, I strongly believe that all of us have to be a great influencer, a mentor, a guide. Now, I may have great thoughts, But if I'm not able to communicate that to my students, it have no meaning. Means communication acts as the skill on which there are so many other skills have to derive. Communication has major impact on the effectiveness of work, and communication also impacts the quality of our relationship with each other. And I'm sure all of you are in agreement with this. So let's do a small activity. I'm going to invite you to go on a chat box and write down the name of your favorite movie. It could be any language. It could be Hindi. It could be in English. It could be any of other language, Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, whatever. Uh, so write down name of your favorite movie. Just the name of your favorite movie, which you must have seen multiple times. Okay, there's so many amazing. So Shilpi Saxena says Tare Zami Par. Sanjeevani says Chupke Chupke. Arshia says Three Idiots. Ruchi says Three Idiots. Meenu ma'am says Veer Zara. Shilpi ma'am says Three Idiots. Piyushi ma'am says Harry Potter. Mahimina ma'am says Three Idiots. Okay, Kumkum ma'am says Anand. Pratiksha ma'am says Janta Gauras. Okay. Tripti ma'am says Jab We Met. Okay. Kalpana ma'am says Titanic. Veer Zara Kal Ho Na Ho. Three Idiots. Jab We Met. Tare Zameen Par. Harry Potter. Three Idiots. Oh wow, wow. Gravity. Titanic. Me Before You. Dear Zindagi. Queen. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and Jab We Met. Bahubali. Wow. Devdas, okay, cranes are flying, Millie's Sam Bahadur, wow. Bhagwan, Rajnikantha, Atrangi Ray, KGF, wow. Pearl Harbor, Tare Zameen Par, Masoom, Veer Zara, Dil Chata Hai, Tare Zameen Par, okay. Superb. So many people written also in 3 Idiots. Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, okay. My Name is Khan, Chak De, Gladiator, wow, Dangal, RRR, 12th Fail, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Gone Walk the Wind, Gone Walk, okay. Amrit, wow, 12th Fail, Super Animal, Animal, Harry Potter, wow, Jackie Chan's The Snake and the Money Monkey Shadow, okay. To the chore, super, guys. Thank you very, very much. The list is just not ending, and this is amazing. And now is the most important question. I would be very, very happy if you can unmute yourself or just raise your hand and we'll unmute you and share whichever movie you have mentioned. Why do you think that movie is your favorite movie? Why that movie has 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 been your favorite movie? So just raise your hand and we'll unmute you. Please share. Any one of you. Rajeshwari ma'am, do they have permission to open the mic? Or can you do something?
Yes, sir.
Great. So you just raise your virtual hand and share whatever movie you mentioned, whether Three Idiots or okay. So Rupali Ji, go on. Yes.
Yes. Jai everyone. Recently, I watched 12th Fail with my students. TOI sponsored it, and it was really a wonderful movie because it's very motivating, not only for the students but for the teachers as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rupali Ji. Right. Nidhi Bajpai Ji, please go on.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Me too, the same movie, 12th Fail, I have written, and I really like that movie because of the reason that it gives a motto to all of us that we should always strive for good, strive for success, never accept failures in life. So always be optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you. Nutan Ji, please go on.
I like the movie Mera Naam Joker because they have given a true story of a life of a Joker, and we really learn something. We should not make fun of a Joker. We should go to the depth of that Joker and feel his sentiments.
Wow. Thank you, Nutan Ji. Yes, Elizabeth Ji, go on.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have recommended the Pearl Harbor because it teaches me, and maximum time whenever I get the time, I watch emotional stability. Anytime the movie is based on a war and any kind of heavy destruction, still the characters are emotionally balanced. They are never ever swayed away by their emotion, and they never take just wrong decision.
Wow, superb. So thank you very, very much. We will have a time constraint. So I'm going to request all of you to please participate in the next question. You may like to, lower your hand, but I want to thank each one of you for being such an amazing participant. And what comes in my mind, and whatever I've gained from the answers given by a few teachers, that somewhere you are emotionally attached to the movie. Somewhere you loved the concept, you loved the dialogues, you loved the feeling which generated by the movie. Now, if you look at the movie, is also a story, and story is communicated in a way where you felt connected. Now, I want all of you to think about that how can you make your communication so effective that those movie which you mentioned, even if you have to see that movie once again, you'll be very, very happy to see. Same way, how can you communicate which is able to connect to the opposite person in a great way, especially to their emotions, especially how you can communicate where they feel like listening to you more and more. If you feel like seeing a movie multiple times, it you create your communication where people want to listen to you multiple times. And that's how, and that's exactly why we think it is very, very important to realize and ensure we make our communication extremely effective. Thank you very much once again for your participation. And moving ahead, I would be very happy if any one of you can tell me what is effective communication? What do you mean by effective communication? Quickly, just raise your hand. We'll unmute you. Yes, Bhavna Singh ji, go on.
Sir, for me, effective communication is something that when two person are sharing, like it's not one-way communication, both are sharing their information and their feelings, and that too, both are comprehending as well. They are able to understand what the other person is trying to communicate. Basically, that is for me is effective communication, not just
Super.
sharing
Thank
the
you.
data.
Thank you, Bhavna ji.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone? Yeah, new people. Okay, Shruti Pandey ji. And I'm going to request you if you can switch on your camera. We can see each other. It will be great. Yes, Shruti Pandey ji, go on.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Am I audible to you, sir?
absolutely, Shruti ji. Please go on.
Sir, just hold for a moment. Yes, sir. Sir, effective communication, it's a process in which we can exchange the ideas, the thoughts, and knowledge. Both from both the sides, both the sender and the receiver, they should be satisfied with their communication.
Superb. Superb. Thank you, Shruti ji. Ruchi Mishra ji, please go on. Ruchi ji, okay. Shreya Nigam ji, can you please go on? Yes.
Yes, sir. So effective communication means the exchange of ideas, thoughts, opinion, or knowledge, and the data so that the message which is received and understood with clarity and with a purpose. That
Okay,
what are we talking about?
I really love the way you say clarity and purpose. Thank you,
Okay.
Shreya ma'am. Yes, Fahimina, go on.
Jai Jagat, everyone. It's feminist. Thank you, sir. Effective communication, it involves clear expression of ideas, active listening as well, what the other person feels. Active listening, then adapting your own message or whatever you want to convey so that the other person is able to get it. So that there is little bit of, there is more of understanding and less miscommunication.
Superb. You said less miscommunication. Effective communication is about no miscommunication. Okay. Superb. Thank you very, very much for your contribution. Let me share a couple of things which I have bought. Communication is expressing and receiving of information between two people, right? But effective communication is about exchanging information specifically, clearly, and without any doubts. So when you have communicated, you ensure that there is no doubt, it's specific and it's clear. Business communication or whatever communication we're doing in our schools are objective driven. What it means that when we are communicating with our students, parents, or other teachers, we have a purpose, we have an objective. Now, at the end of my communication, if that purpose, the objective is achieved, that means my communication was effective. If the purpose is not achieved, that means I still need to work on my communication to ensure that my purpose achieved. Now I have a very tricky question. In communication, we have one person whom we call sender, we have one person whom we call receiver. So we have one sender and one receiver. Now, between these two people, who sender and receiver, whom do you think is more important? Please go to chat box and write down S or R. S for sender and R for receiver. Whom do you think is more important? Whether sender is more important or receiver is more important to make your communication effective? So people are writing both. I want you to pick up any one, whether sender or receiver. I know both are important, but who is more important? Okay, I see amazing response. Wow, I must compliment each one of you for being such an amazing participant, guys. Amazing. So I'm going to invite any one member who have a new member who have not yet so far interacted with me and who are supporting sender to unmute your mic and just raise your hand and let's have a small role play. Anyone who says who's supporting the sender is most important. Anyone raise hand who says sender is most important, and we'll experiment with the role play. Okay, Drishti Bhatia ji, can you please switch on your camera? Oh, it's on. Sorry, it's on. Okay, yes. Drishti ji, are you there?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
super.
Good evening.
Yes,
Good
Drishti. So
evening,
you are
sir.
saying sender is more important?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, can you please tell why?
It is because whatever will be conveyed with a lot of clarity and with a lot of, whatever message has to be sent across, will be through the sender only. And the clarity of the message depends on what the sender actually wants to convey. If the person who's sending the message has done their job in the correct manner, conveyed it properly, the receiver will get the message in the correct way, I feel so.
Okay, okay. So when you're saying sender is more important, Drishti, you become a sender and I will be your receiver. Okay. And
Okay.
please give some instructions to me which you want me to follow. And don't forget, you are a sender, ensure that your message is extremely well drafted. So go on, communicate something to me. You want me to do, I am one of your co-teacher and you want me to do something.
Okay. So I would like you to broadcast a message and inform all the students that tomorrow is the PTM from 8 to 12, and there are 44 students in a class, and each has to be given you have to divide the children and send them the timings, so that there's no rush at the parent teacher during the parent teacher meet.
Drishti, do you think your message was received properly?
um could be, sir, could be.
Did you observe what was the receiver was doing when you were sending the message?
No, sir, my screen does not, I couldn't see you.
Okay. Anyone who can say how do you think the receiver have received the message properly? Yeah, Ruchi Mishra ji, go on. Do you think the receiver have received the message properly?
No, sir, the receiver was busy doing something else, and the message was not at all being received by the receiver. The sender has sent, but nobody has received the message.
So who is more important, receiver or sender?
So receiver.
Okay,
Whatever
Ruchi ji. So Ruchi ji, now you will become a receiver and I will be a sender, and let's see
Sure.
how well are we doing. Okay. So Ruchi ji,
Sure.
right now, which part of the city you are in?
Sir, I am in Lucknow.
Lucknow. Okay, so just go out of your home, go straight. Okay, listen to the instructions, go straight, and then you'll see crossroad, take a right turn. Then
Sure.
go straight, you will cross a post office, then take a first or second left. Go straight, you will cross a bridge. After the bridge, will reach across a market. The green store in the market, just out of the green store, take a right turn, but not the first right, the second right. Go straight, and you will come across a signal. The moment signal becomes green, go straight, and then take a left turn. You will find a bungalow. That bungalow belongs to my friend, and he has bought a gift from me from USA. Can you please collect that gift on my behalf?
Sure, sir. I'll do that.
Ruchiji, do you think you'll reach that bungalow?
Yes, sir. I'll go straight, then take a right from the crossroad, and then I will again move
No, sir,
forward.
he's
There is
not.
the post office, and then I will take a right again. I think second
No,
right.
after the post office, you have to take a second right. You just take the first right.
No. I'm going to take the second right. I'm going to write it, and then I'll move.
The most important thing here is that you are a great receiver, Ruchiji. Okay. But do you think I have given the message in a proper way?
Sir,
No,
you
It could have
have
been it could have been much better if I would have shared a Google map link,
map with me. Yes, sir.
or I
Definitely.
would have drawn the map and shown you. Okay.
Sure.
So
Yes, sir.
irrespective, you were a great receiver. If me, the sender, was not proper, then there's a full scope of you not being able to execute what is required. Now
Yes, sir.
here, what we just realized that irrespective of sender or irrespective of receiver, in both the cases, the challenge is there. And that's where I really want to share one thing very, very interesting, and which is it is important for you to take 100% responsibility of your communication. What it means? It primarily means that whether you are a receiver or whether you are a sender, it's you who is responsible. It's you who is more responsible. It's not about being sender or receiver. It's all about being you. If you are in the role of a receiver, then you have to ensure that you have received everything properly. You may ask questions, you may paraphrase, you may share your doubts, but it's your responsibility as a receiver to receive communication properly. If you are a communicator, you need to plan properly to ensure that what can go wrong, what are the probable doubts a receiver may have, and then phrase and plan your communication. You may repeat, you may ask your receiver to give feedback, so that irrespective of how the receiver is, you have to ensure that the communication becomes successful. So it's actually not about sender or receiver, it's about you. In whichever role you are you prepared to take 100% responsibility? So many times we tell, I have told the teacher, she didn't understood properly, or I had already instructed to students, how come they understood, how come these two students never understood? Very, very important. Whichever role I am 100% responsible for whatever I am doing. And that is where when we start taking full responsibility of our own communication, the communication becomes effective. Super. Very, very happy with your participation. I'm really loving this. So, what do you think are the barriers of communication? What stops you from being an effective communicator? I'm going to invite you, all of you, to please go to chat box and write down the barriers of communication. Please go and write down. Thank you for all your super answers. And if this would have been a KBC, I would have said Sahi Jawab. Everyone are giving the right answer. Because the question is such, there's no, to be very honest, there's no like one right answer. Everything what is been coming here is the right answer. Lack of interest, language, fear of getting misunderstood, lack of attention, uh, language barrier, lack of interest on the receiver side, attention, clarity of thoughts, Wow. Not able to comprehend, lack of concentration. Super. Conveying our thoughts effectively, we're not able to effectively convey, lack of knowledge, attitude, hesitation to speak clearly, attention from the receiver, complete knowledge of the content. Wow, confidence, knowledge, awareness, clarity and attention, lack of interest, distraction, choosing proper word, language barrier, lack of concentration, and lack of comprehension. Wow. Language, ambiguity, and attitude. So more or less, I can say that we can convert the whole of this barrier into two categories. Number one is external barriers. So the language is an external barrier. If there are so much noise in the room and I'm not able to listen to you, external barrier. Okay. The same one time, internal barrier, my fear, my lack of confidence, my attitude, my lack of trust. All of them are internal reasons why we have the barriers of communication, and that's beautiful. Okay. And what can I do to overcome these barriers? Any solutions you want to write? Please again go on chat box and write down any solutions. And once you're done writing, go all through the list. I'm sure so many solutions you will get. So please go to chat box and write down what do you think are the solution of these barriers. What can we do? Amazing answers. Reading more books and reading is something very, very important. I'm sure the way stones to milestones are encouraging students to read books is very, very important to enhance our communication, overcome your weakness, use simple language, use a very simple language, be confident, involve the participants. Great. Break the monotonous states, knowing well in advance what has to be communicated. So preparing for it. Use clear and concise language, active listening, brilliant. Be a patient listener, emotional intelligence. Wow. Uh, okay, using correct language, eye contact, engage the participants, be a good listener as well. Trying simpler ways to communicate, brilliant. Practice, practice, and practice. Wow. Use non-verbal cues, social distance, regular practice, keep practicing simplistic way of conveying messages. Wow. Knowledge update, understanding. Super. Great. I'm now actually wondering, and this question is exclusively to Rajeshwari from S2M, that why I have been invited here. These teachers know everything, every solution they are aware of. Okay. And I strongly believe, and I would like to know from you that how many of you also believe with me that knowledge is power. Yes, knowledge is power, but there's a small correction. The knowledge is power only when applied. And let me connect that with my example. So I know I'm overweight. I need to reduce. I must go for a jog. I must diet. I must exercise. In spite of having me all the knowledge, the moment I see gulab jamun, I eat one. Now, do you think that knowledge has any meaning if I'm not applying the knowledge to my real life? Same way, all of us have great knowledge, and we are like the god and goddess of knowledge. And today, being Rang Panchami or Basant Panchami, is the festival of Goddess Saraswati. So, yes, knowledge we do have. But what is most important, are we able to apply that knowledge? And the moment we apply that knowledge, then this knowledge becomes powerful. Having understood this, let's go ahead and look at something very interesting. A quote which says, I keep 6 honest serving men that taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. Rudyard Kipling, who have mentioned this. And let's quickly get into communication core. So we always, while we want to communicate, let's always start with whom I'm going to communicate. Who is that person? How much do I know about the person? or the background, their qualification, their designation, the gender, age, the cultural background, the upbringing, all these when I know, it becomes very important and easy for me to design my communication. Once I'm done with my woo, most of the time people from after knowing who I'm going to communicate, they jump to what am I going to communicate? And what am I going to communicate to that person? But before what is even more important is why, the purpose of my communication. If I'm not able to derive the purpose, then whatever I communicate will have no direction. So then I will focus on why. And once my then I focus on what would be my communication. This is what is my actual content. And then how will I communicate? What kind of channels I'm going to use to communicate, and when will I communicate? What time? Morning, evening, start of the month, end of the year. What time? This is the right time to communicate. Okay, brilliant. This is the core. And why I took this slide is primarily to have a base stronger, and then we can move on to the advanced thing in communication. Okay, so look at the channels of communication. It could be face to face, it could be presentation, it could be video conference or a call, it could be telephone, it could be email, messaging. Like, yes, Rajeshwari, you raise hand. Rajeshwari, go on.
Sir, your voice is dipping every now and then. Could you just check the network?
Okay, sure, definitely. Is it okay? Is it okay now? Or
Yes,
still
sir.
dipping? Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for the input. Super. So today I'm going to meet all of you to introduce something called McKinsey's pyramid model of structured communication. It's very, very important to understand that what can we do to make our communication effective. And one of the biggest things is to have a structured communication. Okay. So why should you have a structured communication? Yeah, result shows that the people retain structured information up to 40% more accurately than unstructured information. So when you're communicating, if you are structured, your receiver will be able to reproduce information 40% more. Having a clear structure while communicating helps in two ways. Number one, it allows you to understand, organize your ideas, because then I'm able to structure the whole thing. I have so many ideas, I organize them in a structure. And most importantly, it makes it easier for your listener to understand your message and stay focused. So they'll understand the way you want them to understand, and they remain focused because your communication is a structured communication. I'm going to throw a challenge. Now, this is very, very interesting challenge. All of you, please get ready for accepting the challenge. Try to remember the following 9 things within 10 seconds. I'm going to show 9 things on the screen, and I'm going to request you not to write down anything because you are expected to remember these things. Don't write down. Try to memorize this 9 things, which will be available to you only for 10 seconds. Okay. And once you are done, please raise your hand, and I'm going to invite you to unmute your mic and share those 9 items. Quickly, you're going to remember 10 seconds. One simple thing, no writing, just remember in your mind. And here you go. Okay, that's time up. I'm going to invite you to please raise your hand. People who can don't write right now. Also, just open up your mic, raise your hand, and share with us if you can share all the 9 items. Yeah, okay. Money Aragon. Yes, Money Aragon.
Bread, cherries, then tomato, donut, broccoli, tomato.
You repeated tomato. Okay, okay, Money. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So we have Famina gone.
Yes, sir. It's bread, cherries, tomato, ladyfinger, um, apple, donuts, broccoli, grape, and one more is left. Pastries.
Okay, one more. We need all the 9. Oh, but you were good. Okay, Neha Verma gone.
Yes, sir. Sir, bread, cherries, tomato, ladyfinger, apple, donut, broccoli, grape, and pastries.
Wow, amazing. I'm sure most of us were not able to remember all line items.
Thank you,
I
sir.
could see only, so Neha, great job done. I could see only few hands going up. That clearly indicates that few people thought they knew, but they could not. But Neha, you could. But most of you who don't even raise your hand, that clearly indicates that you are not able to remember all nine items. And that's something very, very important. That all those nine items were very simple. We have seen this in our lifetime, but still it was difficult to remember. Why? Because there was no structure. I want to request all of you to please lower your hands. I'm going to share why. And let me put those things in a structure. Bread, donut, and pastries, tomato, lady's finger, and broccoli. And then we have cherries, apple, and grape. I have just ensured that I have made a right cluster in the whole thing. What it is? Bakery items, vegetables, and fruit. I have sorted them, and now it's a shopping list from the supermarket. So now I'm going to give you two communication. Number one, remember these nine things. And number two, I'm heading to supermarket to pick up things from the bakery, vegetable, and fruit vendor. If you see, the second communication is definitely much better because there is some structure involved and becomes easy for us to remember all the items once you have a structure in place than just saying nine random things. This structure was created by someone called Barbara Minto, McKinsey office. The pyramid principle was created by Barbara Minto, the head of the training at McKinsey and Company in 70s. Using the principle, consultants could take large amount of information and structure it to simplify the story, yet retain the details. The McKinsey model can be used for both verbal and written communication, short and detailed communication presentations. The model helps you put your thoughts together very quickly. So now let's understand the whole model. The pyramid principle starts with being clear on your objective, conclusion, answer. Now that's something very, very important. You always start either your objective or the conclusion answer. When you look at pyramid, it has to be top bottom. The top is always the objective, conclusion, answer, following it up with 3 to 5 main points or argument, and then supporting each of this main point with sub points, which are data, facts, statistics. Just like the name implies, the idea is to present your communication like a pyramid, the main point at the top, then branching into supporting arguments, and then branching out into data and facts. Let me show you in the pictorial presentation how it looks.
अच्छा.
So you have the objective and then main 3 points, and then each point is supported with the sub points. Now let's go into detail of each of these categories or each of these points. Let's start with the objective or the final solution first. The thing in green is the objective, and you always start with the objective. So begin your communication by being clear on your objective, conclusion, or final solution. Think about what outcome you want or what you wish to achieve at the end of the communication. Here, when you're creating the objective, what outcome you want, what actions you want your receiver to take is most important. So based on that, you create your objective or you create your solutions. Here, you are the main focus, the objective, and the end result is most focus. What actions do you want the other person to exactly take at the end of the communication is part of your objective. Be extremely specific while crafting your objective or final solution. Right. Look at let me give you an example. Objective is to get an approval of a budget of rupees 3 lakhs for the annual team offsite to Goa. Now, this could be the objective of your communication, or to reach the passing percentage of 98%. Now, this could be my objective, and then the 3 points could be ways by which you'll achieve this. But I want to make the objective very clear. Final solution in the form of for overall development, every student must participate in extracurricular activities. Now, this is a solution I'm offering, and I will have 3 main points supporting my solution. We recommend to read beyond the studies or curriculum. Now, this is my final solution for the overall growth of a student. Okay. Second is give 3 to 5 supporting arguments. Now, here, your main point should meet audience expectations. Now, when you are getting into designing of a communication, as I mentioned, you always start with whom are you going to communicate. So whoever your receiver, based on that person who is your audience, you now think your main points. If you change the audience, keeping the objective intact, your main points may change. If you are communicating that the students must read to the students, you may have three main points. You may have three different main points. But when you're communicating the same object to the parents, your main points may change. If you're communicating same to the trustees, your main points will change. So objective is the same, but based on whom I'm communicating, I'm going to redesign my main points suiting to that particular individual. So while creating the objective, the focus is you who's creating the objective, what actions we want them to take. But while creating the main points, the focus is the audience, the receiver. You can either start by identifying the key themes and build on each, or first write down everything you want to convey and then bucket them into main points. Now, as I mentioned, three is a magical number. And if we can restrict our main points to three, that will be great. Now, how to find top 3 points? You may know 3 points, great, or else you can note down all the possible points and bucket them together whom you think are similar points. So each main point must be distinct and mutually exclusive from each other. Group any similar points you may have. Now, those 3 points have to be very, very different, exclusive from each other, so that your each main point is significant to achieve the objective. Okay. Give a logical order to your points. It could be chronologically in order of importance of priority. My experience says that your most important point should be your point number one. Main point 1, 2, and 3. Your main point 1 should be the most important point. The next important point should be your point 3. And other points should be in between, because people generally pays more attention to your beginning and closing. So your most 2 important points are in beginning and closing. Number your points, very, very important. Numbering your communication makes it easy for the audience to understand and recollect your points. They may come back to you, hey, can you please explain your point number 2? Numbering is very, very important. In each main point, a heading. A headline is a 3 to 10 word summary of your point. Keep your headline short, simple, and to the point. Now let's go to the subpoints. Back up each main point with subpoints. Substantiate and support each headline by giving, number 1, supporting facts, data, statistics, figures, stories. Now these stories, support, data is all supporting one main point. These can be represented in the form of diagrams, charts, graphs, illustrations. Give examples and case studies to substantiate your point. Share benefits of each headline if it's a kind of a sales thing. Let me give you examples of vacancy pyramid. Now, using vacancy pyramid for a simple conversation, a mother doesn't want the child to be in front of a screen for longer time. The objective is you shouldn't spend so much of time on the iPad. The objective is communicated to the child. And there are 3 reasons. You will end up needing glasses as your eyes will get spoiled. You will start feeling lazy and put on weight since you are just sitting on one place, and your neck and back will hurt because of how you are sitting. So I have one main objective, and I have created 3 main points to support my main objective. Now it's your turn now. I'm going to give you like a homework. Please create your communication in a way which will help you to design the whole structure in a great way. Okay. How if you are going to use how this pyramid model looks, look at this. Okay. Now this is a structure which you want to use it when you are creating your own thing. Now additional points to understand. If it's a bigger thing, for more detailed conversation or written communication and presentation, start with an introduction or context of background. So once you have the objective, also give some introduction or background, and with the summary. The McKinsey pyramid makes it easy for others to clarify the doubts and reply to you point by point. Someone say, hey, can you please explain the sub point 1B or sub point 3C? Because you made it with numbering. Super. Now this is a very interesting. When on the left side you see the McKinsey pyramid, on the right side may have the same pyramid. I've just numbered them. Why? I can, once I made the pyramid structure, I straight away convert the whole structure into a PowerPoint presentation. Look at on the left side you see the structure. On the right side you see my slides. My objective, my number 1 slide, or number one slide is my objective. Okay. Then the summary or introduction is my second slide. My first main point is my third slide. The sub point of my first main point is my fourth slide. So if you look at each of them has been so interestingly done that I just need to convert this into slides and my entire PowerPoint presentation will be ready. So I can use McKinsey pyramid for written communication, for verbal communication, even for my presentation. Okay. At this point in time, I'm going to invite you, if you have any question, any doubt, or any reflection, you may like to raise your hand and share with all of us. Based on the entire understanding of the McKinsey model of structured pyramid. Or any innovation application you can think of. That when you're communicating, for example, you have to communicate this thing to your children, to your kids, to your students about an upcoming elocution competition. How will you motivate them to participate in elocution competition, and how will you communicate that in the structured way of pyramid? Could be one application. Okay, any questions? Oh yes, Aditya Shukla's side for lesson planning. We can look at this. Absolutely. Super. Thank you for your contribution. Okay, now, sorry. Now let's go with the next small module on the precision model of communication. Now, effective communication, as we know, is all about specifically, it has to be understood specifically, clearly, without any doubts, and is achieved through precise communication. Precise communication is objective driven, and lack of clarity and specificity in communication cause misunderstanding, lead to wasted time and efforts, and result in conflict. So, what is precise communication? Precise communication is P is equal to S plus C plus CNS. What it means? The formula, it means precise communication is equal to specific communication, concise communication, and clear and simple communication. If we are able to have specific, concise, clear, and simple, we are having a precise communication. So let's focus on specific communication. I'm going to give you an example. Making communication specific. Do you think this is a specific line? Get me some water. Do you think this is a specific? Okay. Or you need more information to make it more specific? Any idea? You can type on chat box. You can raise your hand and unmute and share with me. No, it is not a specific thing. Okay. Aditya Shukla says yes. Get me some water to drink. Okay. Okay. Bring me drinking water in a glass of water. Okay. Okay. So now you're actually trying to make it more specific. Let me help you in doing that. Get me a glass of water. Okay. I can go even more specific. Get me a glass of room temperature water. Or to make it even more specific, get me a glass of room temperature mineral water. Get me a glass of room temperature Bisleri mineral water. I mean, so specific. Get me a glass of 200 ml of 30 degrees of Bisleri drinking water. Oh, I've made it really specific in terms of my demand, right? Let's have one more example. I will get back to you. Definitely, this is not a specific statement. Okay, now let me try to make it even more specific. I will get back to you ASAP. Do you think I've made it specific? I don't think so. I will get back to you in this week. Okay, still I'm very vague about the week. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll get back to you end of the day tomorrow. I'll get back to you by 4 p.m. tomorrow. I'm actually making my statement more specific, but still I see a scope of making more specific when I say I'll get back to you at 4 p.m. tomorrow. It's very, very specific. The time, with date, with everything. Okay, super. That means it's very important to make our communication specific to ensure there's no ambiguity. So how to make your communication specific? Number one, be mindful of situation and the person you are talking. Whom are you talking? And based on that, you need to be mindful. Add relevant and important in details like who, what, why, when, and how. Anticipate any question the receiver may have. So you incorporate the thing. If I'm going to say, give me water, and if I anticipate, they'll ask me, do you need water for drinking? Do you need water for cleaning? Do you need water for something else? If I may say, please give me water to drink, I've made it specific. So I'm actually avoiding those questions. Quantify the communication wherever possible. Give me 2 glasses of water. I'm quantifying that communication, make it even more specific. But keep the communication specific yet concise. Now, whenever you try to make your communication specific, the challenge is you keep adding your communication becomes so longer that the people may lose focus. Today, keeping your students in focus, keeping your students to completely in sync with what you're doing is a challenge. The attention span is day by day reducing. That means if I have such huge communication, it may be specific, it will not serve the great purpose because it is not concise. Now, concise is making it shorter. The moment I make it specific, it is becoming longer. Then I need to work on how can I make my communication concise. So let's focus on the concise communication. Now, what is concise communication? Being concise means to be able to convey everything that you want to say in as few words as possible. So now I'm going to use less words so that my overall communication becomes effective. It involves stating only the important and relevant information and avoiding irrelevant ones. Too much of unnecessary information can lead to confusion. And so it's very important based on whom I'm going to communicate, their knowledge, their experience, their exposure, my previous experience. I have to design my communication accordingly. So you look at the Mark Twain statements. He says, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one instead. That means to make it concise, you need to put in efforts. Writing long things is easy, but concising is something which we all need to understand and imbibe. So, how can I make my communication concise? Have you given any irrelevant details? You might like to delete those irrelevant details. Unnecessary sentences or words you may like to remove. Have you repeated a point several times in a different ways? You may like to review that. So once you're able to do that, you're able to make it more concise. I'm going to give an activity. I'm going to invite you to write down one word which can be replaced by these 3, 4 words and give me the right word. All of us must participate in this because this is about your own choice. Along the lines of, let me give an example. Along the lines of can be replaced by one word like. Okay, so now your time starts. I'm going to give you 2, 3 words, and you need to give me one word which can replace these words. A large number of. Tell me what word can be replaced by this line? The large, numerous, majority, many, plenty, great, super, super, many or several, brilliant, super, super. Now you are fast, so I'm also going to be very, very fast. As a matter of fact, tell me, as a matter of fact, replace this by one word. As a matter of fact, actually, in fact, oh, brilliant. All of you are so amazing. In fact, super, super. Thank you very, very much for your participation. Next question. At the present time, oh, give me one word to replace these 4 words. At the present time. Now, okay? Currently, super, presently. Wow, super. Answer is now or currently, immediately, latest, superb. Great response, guys. Super. Let me know the next question, next query. Drawn to your attention. Drawn to your attention. Focus. Okay, note. Focus. Attentive. Note. Fascinated. Attention. It could be point out. Drawn to attention could be point out. Okay. Next, for the reason that. For the reason that. Replace this 4 words with one word. Oh yeah, because. Therefore. Super. Because is the right answer. And therefore can also be so brilliant, brilliant. Super participation. I'm very, very happy the way all of you are performing and participating. Brilliant. The next is in the final analysis. Finally, okay. To conclude, right? Conclusion. Superb. Great response. The answer is finally. A just conclusion. Superb. Eventually, wow. I'm also learning so many new things just because of your active participation. Thank you, everyone. In the neighborhood of, in the neighborhood of, replace this 4 words with just 1 word or 2 words. Vicinity. Oh, great. Ultimate. Premises. Okay. Or about. Just simple about. And the last point, at a high rate of speed. At a high rate of speed, fast. Okay, super. And I must tell you, all of you are super fast and quick in giving response. Amazing. Acceleration, fast, speed, swift, quick, rapidly. All of those are right answers. I just have mentioned fast. Brilliant. I'm going to invite all of you to take both your hands. All of you, please take both your hands. Okay, and start clapping for your own super achievement. This is amazing. All of your participant is just superb, just superb. Right, let's move on. The third is clear and simple communication. So how to make your communication clear and simple? Break your communication down into points. The McKinsey pyramid model can be of great help. Simplify your language. Illustrate and use diagrams where possible. Share examples to elaborate on your point. Encourage the receiver to clear the doubts and ask questions. Let us take each of these points one by one. So we already learned the McKinsey model of pyramids will help you to make your communication simple and clear. Simplify your language. Avoid jargons, short forms, and difficult words that the other person may not understand. So many times people communicate because they want to show off that, hey, I know so many things. My vocabulary is very high. And they use jargons. They use language which opposite person is not able to follow and understand, which will not work in your favor. If you must use jargon or can't find a better alternative, explain it when it appears first. You must use the abbreviation or acronym, spell it out the first time you use it. For example, CBT is like computer based training, or CST is like Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. Use common language when possible. Okay. Now share example of to elaborate your point. To make your communication clear and simple, elaborate with the example. Examples help give clarity and provide further understanding on a point. Examples make your point clearer, gives the receiver more information, and decreases the chances of the message will be wrongly understood or wrongly applied to real life situation. Because the context in which you are saying is very, very important. Examples can be in the form of typical or representative cases, samples, or references. The next point, which is even more important, is to use diagrams. I'm sure all of us have been using it. Visual communication, such as drawings, illustrations, and images, makes it easy for us to explain our message, understand, and remember information. Using diagrams, charts, and diagrams can help you convey a complex message in a much simpler manner. So I thought let me use diagrams to give you the explanation. Look at the examples. I'm sure all of us have seen this, all this chart, and the entire water cycle. Now, if I explain the whole water cycle in text format, instead of that, I show them this picture, representation, it becomes even more easier. Encourage the receiver to clear their doubts and ask questions so that there's no ambiguity. Observe body language and facial expressions. Sometimes you see the question mark in front of your on the face of your student. Ask them to allow you questions. Ask for feedback and create safe and non-judgmental environment. I think this is very, very important. Even when we look at the new education policy, it talks about the teachers are also co-learners. And that is possible only when you are able to create a safe and non-judgmental environment where every student with whom you are communicating, or a parent or other teachers, feel safe to communicate with you because you are not judgmental. You are not judging on what they're saying. you are perceiving them to be neutral and accepting whatever comes your way. The very nice statement I want to share with you, which primarily talks about the concise communication. If you want me to, now this is what's said by the Winston Churchill. If you want me to speak for 2 minutes, it will take me 3 weeks of preparation. If you want me to speak for 30 minutes, it will take me a week to prepare. If you want me to speak for an hour, I am ready now. I am ready now. What it means that if you need to make a communication impactful, it will require preparation. It will require a lot of thought process to get into that. That will only make your communication impactful, effective. So we are going to focus just to review. We did something on the lines of McKinsey model, the core or the basic of communication, and then we realize how can we make our communication specific, how can we make it precise, concise, and in that precise communication, specific communication, concise communication, simple and clear communication. If we follow these norms, I'm sure we are all set to have a most effective communication in whichever form we do. I'm going to invite now, based on today's session, please go on a chat box and write down your key takeaways. Let me first explain the difference between learning and takeaway. I'm sure you may have found something which you have learned in this session. Now, how will you apply this learning in your real life is the takeaway. So, practical implementable actions are your takeaways. I'm going to invite all of you to at least go on chat box and write down one takeaway which you are going to practically apply in your real life to ensure that whatever you learn from here, you go and apply. I'm going to invite you to please go to chat box and write down your one key takeaway.
Ma'am.
हाँ चलो चलो Hello, good evening, sir. There has been some connection error. Am I audible?
Yes, Saira ma'am, please go on.
Yes, sir. So there has been some error.
Okay.
Sir, could you please guide me, sir?
So, Saira ma'am, there is nothing I have shared right now.
इसको
So
जरा
there is,
बिस्किट दे दे सुलेखा ही मेरा सर खा रही मैं मीटिंग अभी खत्म नहीं हुई है
Saira ma'am, I have not shared anything, so you are not able to see the screen. You are requested to write your takeaway based on today's session. So you can do that. Thank you.
So as far as takeaways is concerned, especially the effective communication, when we talk about the barriers we talk about, I think you have given some very important tips how to overcome those barriers in communication, especially when it comes to, especially country like India, where we have so much of diversity, where we have so many cultures, different people coming from different backgrounds.
Super. At this point in time, I want to share my deepest gratitude for each one of you for being such an amazing participant. We had huge number in terms of participants, which was above 600, and still all of you were engaged, actively involved. That actually speaks volume about the way all of you are. Thank you very, very much. I also want to thank and sincere my gratitude to Stones to Milestones for giving this wonderful opportunity to interact with all these wonderful people from Lucknow, which is definitely my one of my most favorite city. Thank you very, very much. I hope whatever we have learned today, you will put that into action because, as we know, application is more important than knowledge. And I'm going to request all of you to, have you ever thought about something called facial dance? I still feel that we must celebrate this moment with the help of dance. All of us will have a face dance. So let our face quickly dance. Oh, wow. I see some nice dance happening around. Let's have a facial dance. Fatima is with you doing great. Super. Thank you very, very much for that super energy. Hand over back to Rajeshwari ma'am. A great gratitude to Stones to Milestone for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very, very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was an
Thank you,
amazing
sir.
session. Thank you so much. Teacher, so there's one question that somebody asked. May I ask you?
Please go on.
Yeah. I think, how do you measure effective communication? Is there a way we can measure and assess effective communication?
See, every communication, as I mentioned, every communication, what we do is objective driven. Okay. If at the end of my communication, whatever objective I have thought, the way I have thought, if that gets applied in that way, suppose Rajeshwari ma'am, I want you to give me water. Okay. And you give me a water which was not cold. And I really wanted to have a cold water. That means it was not. Either you could have asked me, Anand, do you want a cold water or a room temperature water? I could have very, very specifically told you, can I have a cold water because I'm really thirsty and I love cold water. Now, if I wanted a cold water, but I could not get cold water from you, that means there is a challenge in communication. So whatever I wanted really to achieve, the action what I want you to do, if that happens the way I have thought about, that is the effectiveness of communication. However great orator I may be, however amazing language I may use, but if I am not able to convey you that message and you are not able to take the action, the effectiveness is not there. Thank you.
Jasleen ma'am, I hope that answered your question. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think a lot of gratitude is pouring in for your wonderful session, sir. So once again, sincere thanks from all of us here, as well as Stone to Milestones. And since this is the last session, I'd just like to take a couple more minutes to just ask a few teachers how your experience has been. Not just today's session, the entire CECT program. Anand sir, with your permission.
Please go on. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just a couple of answers. I can, if
Jasleen,
you raise your hand, I can unmute. Yes, Jasleen ma'am, go ahead and unmute. Jasleen ma'am, you can unmute now.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and respected ma'am, and thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful session, and what were the wonderful tips, and especially the dance that took my heart. It was wonderful. And sir, I just want to add one point, that empathy and respect is also very important phase in communication. See, it's very important that you should respect other person while you are communicating. And it was a wonderful session with you, sir, and especially that English session was wonderful, where I learned various way how to comprehend the things, how to make the comprehension phases more easy for my students. That was wonderful session, and thank you so much, ma'am. Daily I do reading and I enjoy it, though I am not a good reader. I don't like to read. I like to visualize things. I'm a good visualizer, but I don't like reading. But because of your platform, I've started reading. Now I'm loving to read. Now I'm always ready to read. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your feedback, Jasleen ma'am. And since we are running out of time, Anand sir, once again, a big thank you to you. I think I'll take another, I know you have something else holding up, so I don't want to hold you a little longer. I will take one more answer from Rupali ma'am.
Thank you for all the sessions. They all were wonderful. And especially, I'm going to use whatever I've learned from these sessions in my classroom. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. That is affirming for us, because that's the purpose or the objective of the entire program. So once again, a sincere thanks to each one of you for attending these sessions, engaging so well with our trainers. And I'm so grateful to our trainers, including Anand sir today, that they have been so passionate and enthusiastic in sharing their knowledge with all of us. So thank you all once again. Thank you, Vera ma'am, for this beautiful opportunity. I'm not sure if you're here. But yeah, a sincere thanks to you too and all the teachers present here. And have a good evening and continue your reading journey, because the program ends on March 31st. And yes, continue to engage on the WhatsApp groups. So once again, a big thank you to you all. Anand sir, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.